Ever wondered which fast food giants are secretly falling apart while still serving millions every day? From soggy meals to backroom scandals, some of America's most recognizable chains are hiding a mountain of mess. We've searched high and low to comb out 12 of the worst, and you'll be surprised which big names made the list. Beware though, your cravings will be ruined before you even make it to the final 3. Number 12. Burger King. You'd think that a place called Burger King would know how to hold on to a crown, but in 2025, this chain is nothing but a former monarch with a ruined reputation. Forget about the throne, crown, or scepter. Burger King is barely hanging on to a single relevance, a case study in how not to run a fast food empire. Time and again, we've seen big brands rest on their laurels, more so for Burger King, whose food quality dipped so hard you'd swear it was trying to self-sabotage. Customer reviews criticize the lack of menu variety, featuring lukewarm burgers, soggy fries, and questionable ingredients. Many even clamor on the greasy, slippery floors found inside the restaurants. And then there's the legendary Burger King foot lettuce incident. A rogue employee posted a picture online with his boots firmly planted inside a container of lettuce destined for customers. The image blew up, and while it happened over a decade ago, it certainly dented the brand's reputation. But think food safety scares were enough to wake up the sleeping giant? Well, not quite. Burger King has since admitted that beef products in its UK supply chain had been tainted with horse DNA. They tried to clean it up with PR spin and a supplier swap, only to end up with a train wreck in PR. From the infamous "Women belong in the kitchen" tweet meant to highlight gender inequality in culinary spaces, to its tone-deaf milkshake tweet during UK protests, Burger King seems to be a controversy magnet. And when your scandals are more memorable than your food, you know the kingdom's in trouble. Burger King has tried to rebrand multiple times, from plant-based menu pushes to throwback marketing gimmicks, but nothing sticks. The chain has since been left in the dust, with only itself to blame. Number 11. Subway. Next up on our list is a brand who, in spite of the odds, actually ran itself into an implosion. You see, Subway didn't just rule the fast food world with an iron fist, they shattered age-old beliefs that burgers and fried chicken were the only way to grow big in the industry. The chain dominated the market with footlongs wrapped in wax paper and the illusion of eating healthy. And boy, were they everywhere: malls, gas stations, college campuses, even Walmart entrances. At one point, Subway had more locations globally than McDonald's. But it's now one of the worst fast food chains in 2025. The question, ever so pressing, is how? How exactly did an American staple lose its trust, credibility, and swagger in such a rapid time? Let's rewind to the infamous footlong controversy. Customers began measuring their sandwiches as a joke, but they quickly noticed a disturbing trend of it never being 12 inches. Cue a class action lawsuit that ended with Subway basically admitting, yeah, sometimes they come up short. Just like that, Subway lost an X factor in credibility, but the hits kept coming. In 2017, Subway filed a lawsuit against the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation after it reported that the chain's chicken contained only 50% actual chicken, with the rest made up of soy filler. Although Subway challenged the findings, DNA testing by scientists at Trent University revealed a substantial amount of plant DNA in the samples, pointing to the presence of soy. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, Jared Fogle. Subway's longtime spokesperson was the face of its Eat Fresh campaign for over 15 years, until he was arrested and sentenced for disgusting sex crimes. Sure, Subway tried to distance itself fast, but Jared and Subway were inseparable for years, so no amount of rebranding could erase their stain. And even their ingredients have raised eyebrows. A recent New York Times investigation into Subway's tuna sandwich revealed no actual tuna DNA was present. Locations are closing by the hundreds, and the competition is hungrier than ever. Subway is at a technical knockout, and the only thing footlong these days is the list of reasons people have stopped trusting them. But want to hear a scary tale of when fresh turns frightening? Well, look no further than Number 10. Chipotle. Like Subway and Burger King, there was a time when Chipotle was the darling of fast casual dining. Fresh ingredients, customizable bowls, and a brand that felt more Whole Foods than fast food. But in 2025, they're just not worth your time and money. The chain is still trying to shake off a reputation tainted by food safety scandals, inconsistent quality, and a growing sense that the brand has lost its edge. It all began in 2015 with a series of foodborne illness outbreaks that would haunt the chain for years. An E. coli outbreak linked to Chipotle locations across 11 states sickened 55 people, led to the temporary closure of 43 restaurants in Washington and Oregon. Later that year, a norovirus outbreak at a Boston location affected over 140 people, including many Boston college students. Get this, health inspections revealed multiple violations, including improper food temperatures and a sick employee working while symptomatic. Can you believe the chaos? Well, it's even scarier when you realize that what we know about the chain is a mere fraction of what we don't. Despite implementing new food safety protocols like high-resolution DNA-based testing of produce and sous vide preparation of meats, Chipotle's troubles didn't end. In 2017, a norovirus outbreak in Virginia sickened at least 135 customers, again linked to an ill employee. This completely eroded public trust and highlighted just how bad they are in food handling and employee management. Worse yet, though, have you even seen the price of what you're paying for? The chain has consistently raised prices over the years despite being poor and poorer in offering value for the increment. And employee reports have also surfaced, alleging that understaffing and pressure to cut labor costs have led to lapses in food safety practices. While Chipotle's sales remain strong, the brand's image has undeniably suffered, and we can no longer recommend the brand to the average Joe, especially as the food quality is on a descent. The meat is often poorly shredded, the rice is stale, and the overall taste is less flavorful than before. Some customers have also claimed the portions have shrunk. We're yet to see how long Chipotle will get away with their lapses, but one thing is for sure, customers are onto them. Number 9. McDonald's. With so many issues on McDonald's plate, it's a no-brainer how the chain is grappling with declining sales, eroding customer trust, and a brand image that's losing its luster. In the first quarter of 2025 alone, McDonald's reported a 3.6% drop in US same-store sales. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the steepest decline since the pandemic, and truth be told, it's likely just the beginning of a deeper slide. Many customers have voiced ongoing frustrations with McDonald's, citing frequent order mistakes and unfriendly service as reasons for their dissatisfaction. Some have even said they no longer find a reason to go back due to repeated bad experiences. Despite efforts to upgrade the menu, such as using fresh beef in the Quarter Pounder, some diners believe that reverting to frozen patties in certain locations has hurt the taste. Others have blamed changes in cooking techniques, which may just explain why its burgers are drier and less flavorful. No one wants to pay for that, especially when the meal is so expensive now. We've lost count of the number of times that people express frustrations over the cost of basic items. It's so bad that a simple breakfast order can now exceed $25. Sure, McDonald's has made notable attempts to lure customers back with promotions like the McValue platform and $5 meal bundles. However, these efforts have yet to reverse the downward trend. Our fingers are crossed on the possibility of the chain overcoming the challenge, but it's very unlikely for now. Reviews report inconsistent service quality, with complaints ranging from long wait times to order inaccuracies. To regain its footing, McDonald's must address not only economic headwinds, but also the evolving expectations of a more discerning customer base. Easier said than done, though. Number 8. Pizza Hut. As sad as it sounds, the crusty legacy of Pizza Hut is crumbling under the pressure of the fast-paced fast food industry. But before we talk about the domestic challenges, allow us to highlight some of its international struggles. Pizza Hut has ceased operations in Chile and filed for bankruptcy due to economic downturns and intensified competition from rivals like Little Caesars and Papa John's. Indonesia, a shrinking middle class and decreased consumer spending forced the closure of dozens of stores and significant workforce reductions. It's a growing trend in the industry where chains are vulnerable to the collapse of middle-income consumers. But back to domestic waters, and the chain has been entangled in legal disputes with franchisees, notably EYM Group, over allegations of financial mismanagement and lack of competitiveness. These disputes have led to the closure of numerous locations, including long-standing establishments in Pennsylvania and Michigan, much to the chagrin of loyal customers. But don't take this to mean the chain is clean in the customer service department, though. Food safety concerns have tarnished Pizza Hut's image, notably an incident where a family in the UK discovered a spider baked into their pizza. Hair or even flies are one thing, a spider getting baked into pizza is a major red flag. Pizza Hut also faced significant setbacks during the COVID-19 pandemic, with one of its largest franchisees filing for bankruptcy and over 300 restaurants closing permanently in China. With a legal battle with one of its domestic franchisees and the hundreds of stores closed down annually, Pizza Hut's current trajectory suggests it's far from its past glory. And speaking of old-timers on the descent, you're not going to believe who's next. Number 7. KFC. That's right, coming in at the 7th spot of America's worst fast food chains in 2025 is Kentucky Fried Chicken. The chain received an average customer review score of 2.89, a meager total considering just how titanic the chain was in the industry. Think we're kidding? Just glance at online reviews and witness the plethora of complaints, ranging from poor service to low-quality food and even mismanagement. Like that wasn't bad enough, KFC is facing the heat from savvy competitors, especially chicken-centric establishments that offer diverse menus and modern dining experiences. Why? Well, because these newer entrants have capitalized on shifting consumer preferences, emphasizing quality, variety, and value, areas where KFC has struggled to keep pace. Little wonder why the chain has been reporting a sharp decline in sales. Now, credit where it's earned, KFC has made a couple of efforts to rejuvenate the brand through menu overhauls and promotional deals, but they've all fallen short as rising food costs and economic pressures push consumers toward home-cooked meals and more affordable dining options. Could change be on the way? Well, that's very unlikely. It's hard for any chain to recover from a tarnished image, more so for big brands like KFC. Menus no longer match up to advertising, long waits are constant at understaffed locations, and the ingredients are just no longer hitting right. Diners also mention inaccurate orders, cold food, or simply rude service that sours the entire experience. So yeah, visiting KFC can feel like rolling the dice. It's easily one of the worst fast food chains in America right now, but not quite the bottom of the barrel. That dishonor is reserved for our final 3 picks. Still, we couldn't move on without first talking about number 6, Wendy's. Oh boy, where do we even start? Wendy's used to be the scrappy underdog with square burgers and sass, but in 2025 it's no more than a harrowing reminder of what happens when a brand loses its focus, its flavor, and its footing. The numbers tell a grim story. In the first quarter of 2025, US same-restaurant sales dropped 2.8%, revenue missed expectations and fell to $523.5 million, and net income slipped to $39.2 million. The worst part is that customers are noticing the decline, with online forums filled with complaints about cold food, meager portions, and inconsistent service. Speaking of mistakes, have you tried out the AI-powered drive-thrus? Count yourself lucky if you've never had an issue, because customers are reporting the system mishears orders, lacks human oversight, and creates a frustrating experience. Think of it a bit like Russian roulette, but with food. And remember the food safety issue that plagued the brand in recent years? Well, an E. coli outbreak linked to Wendy's sickened around 100 people across 6 states. One of them was an 11-year-old girl who suffered severe complications, including brain damage. A $20 million lawsuit was filed after that, and the source was traced to contaminated romaine lettuce. But let's just pause for a second and think about what you just heard, because things go from bad to worse. Wendy's has faced boycotts for refusing to join the Fair Food Program, which aims to protect agricultural workers from exploitation. They believe it's unnecessary given internal standards are met, but it's still a stance that lacks transparency and accountability. After all, what's there to hide if your suppliers truly meet international standards? And even the menu feels stuck in the past. International branches are pushing boundaries with inventive frosty flavors, yet US locations remain stagnant by offering little variety. Without a clear strategy to turn things around, this once iconic chain may soon fade into fast food obscurity if it hasn't already. Number 5. Domino's. What happens when the pizza place that once promised hot pies in under 30 minutes can't even get your order right or on time? Well, you get Domino's, a chain once hailed as the king of quick, cheesy satisfaction, now barely clinging to relevance. Even with gimmicks like emergency pizza handouts and half-off promo weeks, customers simply aren't biting the way the company hoped. Meanwhile, bigger chains like McDonald's and Wendy's are offering better value and heaping the pressure on Domino's. And that pressure, well, it's coming from inside the kitchen. A national labor shortage has left stores understaffed and overwhelmed, leading to delayed orders and shortened hours. Even Domino's own treasurer, Jessica Parrish, admitted the staffing situation was impacting performance and delivery reliability across the board. And nothing ruins a pizza night like a 90-minute wait for cold cheese and cardboard crust. And things aren't better overseas. Domino's Australia reported its first loss in 2 decades. And then there's the Japan debacle. The company stretched itself thin during the pandemic, opening far too many stores in an already crowded market. This backfired drastically, as you can guess, with 200 store closures. Put simply, Domino's has lost the edge. The charm is gone, the pizzas are underwhelming, and the brand feels like it's clinging to nostalgia. In 2025, Domino's isn't delivering, literally or figuratively. Number 4. Papa John's. If there's one thing Domino's has taught us, it's that building an empire from pizzas can be as fickle as building a home with literal crusts. Now, what if we told you the demise of Papa John's all started with a voice on a conference call? You see, back in 2018, founder John Schnattner used a racial slur during a corporate training session. The heat from the incident forced him to step down while the company scrambled to scrub his image from storefronts and commercials. But scandals like that don't just fade away. Even in 2025, Papa John's is still trying to outrun its own shadow. The rebranding efforts haven't entirely worked. Customers haven't forgotten who built the brand, and many aren't ready to forgive it. Leadership changed, logos were refreshed, but the taste of the controversy still lingers. It's more than just a PR mess, it's a fracture in the brand's identity, one that's hard to seal with melted cheese. And the double punch came from accusations of poor labor conditions and questionable tipping policies. Workers have even protested wage theft, with a $3.4 million class action lawsuit settled for violating labor laws. Imagine a delivery worker covering expenses like gas and vehicle maintenance out of pocket. These and many more have dented the image of Papa John's as a worker-friendly place. And then, there's the food itself. You didn't think we were going to leave out this sloppy part, did you? On the outside, the chain promises better ingredients, better pizza, but customers have increasingly complained about bland crusts, inconsistent quality, and rising prices that just don't match the experience. And in the wake of that implosion, Papa John's hasn't found a clear voice or a steady footing. In a market where pizza lovers have more options than ever, Papa John's is starting to feel like the chain people only order from when everything else is closed. Number 3. Taco Bell. What's really inside your taco? That's the question that's haunted Taco Bell since 2011, and in 2025 the brand still hasn't fully shaken the doubt. Remember the infamous lawsuit accusing Taco Bell of selling seasoned beef that was only 35% actual meat? Sure, the case was later withdrawn, but it was viral enough to sow seeds of doubt in the hearts and minds of the general public. People began questioning what they were really eating, and with good reason. Even years later, Taco Bell has been called out for mysterious menu items that don't quite look like what's advertised. Add to that a growing customer demand for clean, whole foods, and you've got a fast food chain that's losing credibility in the nutrition conversation. So really, why should you shop there in 2025? Remember, the meat fiasco isn't the only blow. Taco Bell has had an infamous history of tone-deaf advertising, like the one suggesting people who bring veggie trays to parties aren't to be trusted. It was so bad that it had to be pulled after public outrage. And then there's their pattern of yanking popular menu items with little explanation, like the Mexican pizza. Only the outrage from loyal customers and a massive cult following was enough to bring it back. Simply put, things that don't look good at Taco Bell. Workers have staged walkouts over poor wages and unsafe conditions, and former employees complain about lack of breaks, low pay, and even unsafe food handling practices in certain locations. All this feeds into the larger problem, a chain that seems more invested in edgy marketing than in doing right by its workers or its customers. You don't want any of that. Number 2. Arby's. It feels like Arby's just isn't ready to change its declining image. We mean, for a chain that brags about having the meats, they sure have a hard time convincing people they actually want them. Let's start with the menu, a heavy, greasy, sodium-packed carnival of roast beef piles, deep-fried oddities, and meats that sometimes leave customers wondering, what exactly am I eating? Other chains have embraced health-conscious trends and plant-based options, yet they refuse to evolve and instead double down on being the over-the-top meat lover's haven. Things like these could pass off in prior times, but the shtick feels dated in 2025. Customers are increasingly mindful of what goes into their bodies, and Arby's menu still reads like a cholesterol dare. A single sandwich can clock in over 800 calories, and that's before adding curly fries or a shake. The American Heart Association has even highlighted Arby's as a chain with some of the worst sodium offenders on the market. But nutrition isn't the only red flag. Arby's, just like Taco Bell, has an infamous history of bizarre and tone-deaf marketing that often leaves people scratching their heads. Remember the venison sandwiches or the meat-based fashion line? Even now, their campaigns tend to generate more confusion than conversions. And behind the scenes, things aren't much better. The company has faced multiple lawsuits over workplace discrimination and unpaid wages. In some instances, employees reported unsafe working conditions and poor management practices. In 2023, a Colorado location made headlines when a customer tragically died after being locked in a freezer, an incident that sparked serious questions about oversight and safety protocols. Arby's tagline proudly says, "We have the meats," but in 2025 it might as well be, "We have the problems, only problems." Number 1. Long John Silver's. Isn't it ironic how a seafood chain can lose the trust of coastal states, the very places that know good seafood? The chain started so well but fumbled under the pressure of growing big. Now it's a fast food relic floundering in bad reviews, questionable quality, and an identity crisis it never quite resolved. Want soggy batter, underwhelming sides, and greasy, limp meals that'll leave you more seasick than satisfied? Well, go ahead and give it a go. Customers didn't mince words in recent interviews, calling the food horrible, the portions pitiful, and the experience a complete waste of time. And it's not just inland towns raising complaints. In seafood-savvy states like Maryland and Delaware, the chain scored abysmal customer ratings of 2.28 and 2.53 out of 5, respectively. And why wouldn't it? Long John Silver's has long struggled with cleanliness issues. It's so bad that numerous locations have made headlines over the years for failing health inspections. And in 2013, one of its menu items was famously declared one of the worst meals in America by the Center for Science in the Public Interest, thanks to a shocking 33 grams of trans fat in a single platter, a number that, at the time, tripled the recommended daily intake. That image stuck, and even years later, many still associate the chain with excessive grease and poor nutrition. But perhaps their biggest sin, and the reason why they top our list today, is a failure to modernize. Competitors introduced grilled options, fresh ingredients, and mobile ordering, yet Long John Silver's has stale branding and physical locations that look like they haven't been revamped since the early 2000s. No one's excited about the chain anymore, and it's sinking fast in the court of public opinion. But what do you think? Could Long John Silver's or any of these chains get back on track? Tell us in the comments below, and don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel.